Welcome to Cinema 101. We're your host, Kylie.
Yuri.
And Tucker.
On today's episode of Cinema 101, we'll be talking about
The Prince of Persia.
It is an action/romance adventure.
It starts out with Dustin in the streets and showing where he came from because he was not born into the family. He was picked up and the king went to the market and saw his bravery for sticking up for his friends when his friends did nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was very informative. For later in the story, it builds a plot, I guess you could say.
Then, 15 years later, Dastan and his two brothers, Tuss and Garsif, are outside the walls of the holy city of Alamet, ready to attack because their uncle Nazam gave them information about how a spy has gathered some weapons made by Alamet to give to their enemies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we later find out it's false information. Though,
yeah, but Tuss lets Garsif lead the attack, but Dustin doesn't listen. He takes his own path and gets into the city himself, which shows how witty and brave and how much courage he actually has.
True. Okay, then they meet Tamina, who is the princess of Alamet.
After the whole attack settles down with everything, the fire and everything, I didn't even know where that came from, to be honest. I zoned out in that part of the movie, so there was just fire everywhere when I was back in. Anyway, they go into the castle where they meet Tamina with all her servants, and Tuss demands for them to be married. Well, yeah, he kind of does demand, because he says either you get married with me or you die. It's one or two choices. I would prefer death, but I mean, that's a personal opinion. But then she says no until she does say that she would rather die, until she sees Dastan with the dagger that she had to protect or whatever.
Yep.
The reason she was willing to die.
What is she? She's the protector.
She's a guardian.
Guardian.
So it's I mean, I would have preferred death too, but.
And then
Just
Tuss
saying.
is if Father doesn't approve of our unity, then
kill her on the spot. Yeah. So she's it's either marriage or death. That's not a lovely choice, but I mean, I would prefer death. And then after that, the whole thing, she agrees in the end. And then they go have a huge victory party, I guess. It's a victory party for the soldiers or whatever.
After his dad yells at him for invading the city.
Oh, yeah, because it's a holy city and it was meant to be untouched. They have a party. They celebrate the soldiers defeating other soldiers, and then Dastan presents Tamina to his dad, the king, and he's Dastan's Tuss wants her to be his wife, so that there's union and the loyalty of her people is guaranteed to us. But then his dad, the king's well, Tuss has too many wives, which, by the way, what? He has too many wives. And then he's she can be your first, to Dastan.
His first wife.
So special. And then there's a plot twist, y'all. Plot twist. Dastan ends up being wanted for murder, so he has to escape through the window, which, by the way, they were lucky that there's whatever. What was it, a fountain type thing?
Yeah, it was a fountain.
Under the window. And then him and Tamina had to jump out the window into the fountain.
And then they go on this really wild journey to running for their lives situation, because Dastan's wanted for murder.
Yeah, they are running for their lives because Dastan's wanted for murder, and then she wasn't accepted by the king to be Tuss's wife, but Dastan, so she's also wanted to be killed.
By who?
Tuss. Garsif.
Anyway, while on their big fancy journey in the wilderness, Dastan discovers why the dagger is so important to Tamina.
Yeah.
And why she spent basically her whole life protecting it.
Yeah.
And why she was willing to marry Tuss.
To protect the dagger, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we find out the background of the dagger and how it came to be.
Yes, true. And then they go through the Valley of the Slaves and a funeral, and they end up in the sacred temple, outside the gates of Alamet, from which the dagger came, to put it back to save the world type stuff.
Yeah. That was pretty interesting, I gotta say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole way that they celebrated.
Okay, and by the end, they end up under the streets of Element.
Where the way they kept the gods supposedly kept the sands of time.
Yes,
Yeah.
with the real murderer
Yeah.
and what he wants to do with the sands of time and the fancy little dagger that has magic powers.
I honestly, I hated the way that the movie ended.
I did too.
It was like not at all what I expected.
It was good, but it was bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like it had a. I don't know. I didn't like the ending. It was very.
Destin and Tamina are like trying to save each other and everyone else on Earth from the sands of time and the angry gods and all that.
Yeah.
Although, like you said, I really didn't like the ending.
Yeah, it was not.
Like, it was
I expected
good.
more. I had higher hopes for the ending than what happened.
Like, it was a good ending, but I wanted a different ending.
What do y'all mean? There was a good ending.
Not
yes,
really.
but I didn't want Tamina to forget about Destin.
Well,
She did.
everybody to forget everything that they went through.
everybody
Like,
Except for Destin.
it was like
'cause
the
he was still holding the dagger.
whole movie was like for nothing. Everything that they went through was for nothing, basically.
Except for Destin. He remembers stuff.
Well, yeah, but
And now his life is better.
True.
is it though?
Yeah.
Because he remembers everything he went through with Tamina and all that.
Yes,
so.
and now he knows that he still actually loves her. And she just has to love him back now.
And
Yeah, that's it. That's
And
it.
his father-
No big deal.
She done
and his
forgot.
father and his best friend and all of his brothers are alive.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Everybody's alive again.
Everybody's happy except for Destin.
Gosh.
I would hate that. Like to be that person right there. To remember everything.
But on the bright side, Nazam, his plans and all his whatever.
Oh yeah,
It's
he
like-
had to kill his own uncle.
No,
No, Tuss kills him.
That's right.
He almost killed Destin for exposing him or whatever, and then Tuss just turns around and stabs him.
I still wanted Tamina to remember him.
Tamina.
Tamina to remember him though. Like
Yeah. Like, why is she affected by it if she's like the guardian of it? Shouldn't she be like
remember
immune to
stuff
it?
so that everybody
Yeah,
can say,
she
"Oh,
should be-
they remember each other and they fall in love." And
She should be like immune to it or whatever.
I don't think that's how it works, but
Yeah. But she's a guardian. It would have been cool if they just gave her like immunity to it. You're not affected
Anyway.
by it, you know?
it was a really good movie.
It was. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Yes,
Would definitely recommend.
definitely recommend.
Yo,
I love that
10 out of
movie.
10.
Thank you for joining us on Cinema 101 with our review of The Prince of Persia.